One morning you woke up and the alarm went off. You went through the routine: shower, coffee, screen, the same sequence you have executed 300 times, and somewhere in the middle of it, without warning, without a dramatic event, something stopped working. Not your body, not your mind. The story. The story you had been telling yourself about why any of this mattered. The job that was supposed to mean something. The goals that were supposed to be yours. The version of yourself that was supposed to feel real by now. All of it, suddenly hollow, like a stage set with nothing behind it. The crowd has a name for this moment. The crowd calls it a breakdown. Therapists schedule appointments for it. Pharmaceutical companies have products for it. Nietzsche had a different name. He called it the beginning. An existential crisis is not a mental illness. It is the violent collapse of your illusions, every belief system you absorbed without choosing, every value you inherited without examining, every goal you pursued because the herd validated it, not because you constructed it from your own raw material. Nietzsche recognized the existential crisis that arises from the erosion of traditional values and beliefs, but he also saw the potential for overcoming nihilism through the creation of new values and purposes. The crisis is not the problem. The crisis is the diagnosis becoming visible. The problem was always there: the borrowed reality, the unexamined life, the performance of meaning rather than the possession of it. The crisis is simply the moment the structure fails publicly enough that you can no longer ignore it. And here is what the crowd gets wrong. The crowd wants to repair the structure, put the illusions back, restore the story to working condition, get you back to functional, meaning back to consuming, back to performing, back to generating the metrics that keep the simulation running. That is not a cure. That is maintenance of the cage. God is dead, and we have killed him. Who will wipe this blood off us? What water is there for us to clean ourselves? When Nietzsche wrote this, he was not making a theological statement. He was describing the structural collapse of the entire value system that Western civilization had used to answer every fundamental question. Why am I here? What should I do? What is worth wanting? That structure is gone. Not recently. It has been gone for over a century. What you are experiencing is not a personal failure. It is the delayed arrival of a collapse that was always coming. The nihilism, the specific vertigo of a world where nothing inherently means anything, is not a disease to be cured. It is the blank canvas. Use the lack of inherent meaning as a blank canvas to actively create your own values. The abyss is the raw material. Here is what Nietzsche actually prescribes: not recovery, completion. Complete the destruction first. Before you rebuild, you must finish the demolition the crisis started. Every illusion that collapsed, let it go completely. Every borrowed value that no longer holds weight, do not repair it, remove it. This is the inventory, the first phase of the rebuild. Take every belief you hold about what success looks like. Ask one question: did you construct this? Or did you absorb it from the herd without examination? Take every goal you are pursuing. Same question: constructed or inherited? Take every relationship in your life that requires you to perform a version of yourself you do not recognize. Same question. What survives this inventory is yours. What does not survive was never yours to begin with, and you have been spending your life's energy maintaining someone else's architecture. Phase 2. Amor Fati, the love of fate. Not the acceptance of fate, not the tolerance of fate, the love of it. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, but love it. This means the collapse itself, the specific morning when nothing made sense, the years spent pursuing hollow goals, the relationships that were performances, the version of yourself that failed to materialize on schedule. Love it. Not because it was good, because it is yours, because every specific detail of your destruction is the precise material from which your reconstruction will be built. There is no other material available. By choosing to embrace the chaos and the struggle, you rob the universe of its power to crush you, and in the process become the master of your own story. The man who loves his collapse cannot be destroyed by it. He is already using it. Phase 3. The will to power as blueprint. The will to power, not as a desire to dominate others, but as an internal drive for self-mastery, discipline, and personal growth. The rebuild does not start with a plan. It starts with one question. What do I actually value when no one is watching and nothing is being rewarded? Not what you should value, not what the herd rewards. What you, specifically, privately, without audience, find worth spending the hours of your life on. That answer is the foundation. Everything else is architecture built on borrowed ground and will collapse again. Most men never find the answer because they never ask the question in silence. The feed is always on. The metrics are always visible. The validation is always available. And available validation is the enemy of genuine value construction. Go quiet. Stay in the question. The answer that arrives after real silence. Not the first answer, the one that survives 3 days of genuine solitude. That is the raw material of the sovereign self. The Übermensch, the overman, is not a superhero. It is not an elite type of human being, reserved for exceptional genetics. The Übermensch represents the pinnacle of self-overcoming and personal evolution. Striving towards it means breaking free from mediocrity and pursuing excellence in all aspects of life. It is simply the man who has completed the process, who looked at the collapsed structure, performed the inventory, accepted the destruction through Amor Fati, and then constructed a value system from his own raw material, rather than the herd's borrowed scaffolding. The process is available to any man willing to sit in the abyss long enough to hear his own signal. Most men climb out too fast. They cannot tolerate the silence of the demolished structure. They grab the nearest available meaning, a new ideology, a new goal borrowed from someone else, a new performance, and restart the cycle. Stay in the abyss. That is where the blueprint is written. When you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. Nietzsche wrote that as a warning. It is also a promise. The abyss sees you clearly, without the illusions, without the borrowed values, without the performance. It sees exactly what you are made of, which is the only honest starting point for building something real. The existential crisis you are surviving is not a detour from your life. It is the most important event in it. Everything that collapses was not load-bearing. Everything that survives the inventory is yours. Build from there. Build only from there. And build something that does not require the herd's permission to stand.